right, it is the top of the hour, so I'm going to go ahead and start us off. Happy Thursday, everyone. I am super excited for today's webinar. We are hosting Carrie Prince, and she is going to be talking about customer service and doing customer service online. Really excited for that. It'll be Q&A style, which is a little bit different, so we'll hop into that in just a second. But first, I just wanted to go through a few announcements and housekeeping items. First things first, our featured sponsor for our webinars this month is the Nebraska Winery and Grape Growers Association. They are one of our main sponsors for our Marketech conference, so we are so thankful for their support, and I'm going to talk more about our Marketech conference in just a second here. But wanted to give them a shout out, as well as our featured member, Lips. They have been a Grow Nebraska member since 2005. They're located here in Kearney, Nebraska, same place that our headquarters is. So just wanted to give them a shout out since they've been a member with us. We try to give our members a little bit of love each month by picking one to feature for each of our each month's webinar series. So in addition, I teased this a little bit, but I wanted to talk about Marketech. This is our marketing and technology conference. We hold this annually, and this year we are going to be talking all about digital marketing and making the digital pivot. So if you enjoy any of the topics that we have covered in this webinar, you are going to love Marketech. And then for Marketech, we are bringing in an internet marketing expert. His name is David McBee. He is going to be our keynote speaker. So excited to hear from him. He has been doing marketing for a really long time, started out in the Yellow Pages, and now he has been a Grow with Google trainer. He just has a wealth of knowledge, and I'm so excited to hear him talking about making the digital pivot and internet marketing ROI to make sure that all of the time and money that you are investing into digital marketing has good results for you. So registration for that is open now. We actually just extended our early bird deadline. So go to marketechconference.com and register. Our spots are still limited, so I'd encourage you to do that as soon as possible. All right, so now I'm going to invite Carrie to jump on stage with me, and we are going to go into our Q&A. And so what we're going to do is I have a few pre-formed questions that I'm going to ask Carrie, and then I would love to open it up for everyone else to ask questions. So if any time during the discussion you have a question, please put that into the chat, and we'll address that at the end after we go through some of our pre-formed questions. But please don't feel shy. We want to make this an interactive experience. So by all means, when you want to know something, please drop that in the chat. So thanks so much for joining us today, Carrie.
Thanks, Tiffany. It's fun to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, so
I'll try to block the light, so I'll move so I don't blind you all today. Sorry.
No, that's fine. That's part of the challenge of doing webinars and stuff. So I just thought we could start off with a question at first, just so that you can kind of introduce yourself and tell your story. So can you say how you became to be an entrepreneur and share the story of how you came to own K-Town Cakery?
Yeah, absolutely. So Tiffany, I think hindsight 2020, I probably always meant to own my own business. I'm very much just if I think about my personality, I'm a fixer, I'm a grower, I'm a creator. I like to build stuff from nothing or fix things. And so it became very natural. But my professional experience until about 2.5 years ago was mostly in corporate America, or then I also took a stint where I helped run a big vet clinic here in town. And I just really was to a place where I enjoyed the business skills that I learned in corporate America. I enjoyed all of the training and the opportunities I was afforded, but it wasn't personally fulfilling for me anymore. And so it really was accidental that I ended up owning a bakery. It was what happened to be there. I think I could get excited about selling any widget. It's just super convenient that the widget I sell, if I get bored on the computer one day, I can pop downstairs and make some macarons. So that obviously is convenient. But my husband and I had a chance to purchase a business in Kearney that was not doing super well. And but we thought that we could kind of turn it around. I'm a huge fan. I was raised a small town banker's daughter, and so have always loved small business, supporting local, have understood the value that those businesses bring online community. And so it presented an opportunity for us to own that business. And then we've since obviously grown it, kind of turned that business around, and are now starting to add on to that and add, owning the building, and then what we can do differently with that piece. So I say it was purely accidental, but it's been fun.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So you mentioned that you gained a lot of skills and learned a lot of life lessons in your time in corporate America. Can you just describe how those have helped you now that you're a business owner?
Yeah. So I think of it in buckets, right? So I've had multiple roles in big companies and big roles and just doing oddball things. Probably the one that comes to mind first is I did a stint of my time in a business analytics role, and actually then went and did some international business, lived overseas for a while. And that goes without saying that that's helped me be able to look at a business, understand financial health, be able to look at margin structure where we can fix, drove home the importance of me understanding cost structure, and then therefore how I was going to price products. So that is a very natural. But if I think about especially what matters to us today, I also, because I knew I needed it and I needed to grow, it was not my favorite job, but I was a sales rep for a period of time. And I went and sat on the other side of a desk and had to convince someone why they wanted what I had, which again, I didn't enjoy, but I had to grow decent at it. And so learned that customer service side, learned the account management, the follow-up skills that it takes in order to earn somebody's business. So that was very helpful. And then I think ultimately just the ability to build relationships. I always joke if I take a classic personality test, I actually test as an introvert. But people who know me in a work setting don't know that about me. I've had to force myself and learn how do I go out and grow relationships, even though that's not necessarily something I enjoy or want to have to do a lot of. But all of those things have come together to be able to help me run a small business like I have today.
Yeah, that's awesome. So when you took over K-Town Cakery, can you describe what specifically in regards to customer service, what things that you saw that you wanted to change and how you changed them?
Yeah. So first of all, let me apologize. We moved into this location 2 weeks ago, and there still is construction happening. So that's what you're hearing. So sorry about that. Hopefully you can hear me okay. Yeah. So frankly, when I walked in to purchase when I walked in to pursue the business, I knew nothing about them. I'd never even been in the building before. And I had done a little bit of work to understand what the assets might be worth. And so when I first got questioning them, and I thought they were just wanting to go out of business, but ultimately they were wanting to sell and have somebody take it over. And so I definitely asked around in town, like, tell me about these guys, like what's going on, because I didn't have any experience. And what I heard resoundingly was that they had phenomenal products, but their customer service was lacking. And I don't want to say it was poor. I think that customer service was not a focus of theirs. And so immediately I thought, well, that's something I can do. Right. I don't know that I could create baked goods and build that from scratch, but if they have good products, I can bring the service. I can bring smiles. And so a lot of what we did, I would just call shifts. I mean, and some were very intentional and were hard changes. I still remember the conversation. I changed the name slightly. I had some different reasons that I did that, but I remember sitting with them and saying, we have to change the way we answer the phone, right? Like we have to use the right business name. I also changed things like they had a hard rule that they would not take an order in week. So we had multiple people who were calling and asking for an order, and we just told them no, not on the premise that we couldn't do it, but you called on the wrong day. And that wasn't okay to me. And then especially, and I know we want to spend some time on this, but I also completely changed the way that we interact with customers on social media. So I joke that I personally, right before I purchased the business, was wanting to just get off of social media. I truly was about to just abandon it and just say like, hey guys, you can't find me here. Because I was tired of it. But then I bought a business and now I have to be on it. And I still don't browse it personally. But I started engaging with customers on social media and really then also just simple little things like greet with a smile. One of the things I tell the girls all the time, and I'm looking out over it now, we've grown enough that I now intentionally say, who is point on the counter? because I need to make sure that every single customer who comes in is greeted. But I tell all of the gals who work for me, hey, if you're point on a counter on a day that you shouldn't be point on a counter, just tell me. We all have bad days. We all have things that happen outside of here. We all have things that impact our performance at work, and that's fine. And we can pull them back, and they can bake all day, so that somebody who's having a good day and will give a customer experience that's positive, we can put them out front. And just recognizing that, so every time a customer walks in, yes, some of them are repeat customers, but other times it's the first time we've interacted with them. Or it's the only time we ever will interact with them. They're from out of town. They found us online somehow, and yet they'll be the ones who will go post. And so it really is about just kind of overhauling and making that interaction with customers very intentional. I would say before, when we interacted with a customer, it was accidental, right? Like they happened to call or they maybe walked in, and we now just get very intentional about that interaction and how we interact with them.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, and you're right, we did want to talk more specifically about social media. So what customer service as it relates to social media, what are your policies there? What do you do on social media for customer relations?
Yeah, so I think it was, for me, it was recognizing I needed to meet my customers where they were. So we have a ton of walk-in traffic, and that's a fair amount of our business. But a lot of our business is people planning birthday parties and busy moms. I'm one of those, and my family sadly gets the time after everybody's in bed. And so if that was the time that a mother had a chance to send a picture and say, "Hey, can I get some cupcakes for my kids' birthday party?" Previously, we would have just responded and said, "Hey, you need to call us during business hours. Here's our phone number." So the good news is we were interacting. We weren't just like sending that to a wastebasket, but we were telling them you need to call. And yet our customer was indicating, I can't get to you during business hours, or phone is not my preferred method of communication, right? So we were forcing people to use what was helpful, what was easiest for us. And so I just started interacting. Hey, yeah, absolutely. And I was told it couldn't be done. I was told that nobody can take a cake order without talking to the person, but it can. It takes a lot of work. It takes a decision tree. It takes me learning, what questions do I ask? How many servings do you need? What do you want it to look like? What flavor? But we can get there. And so I just started engaging and little things like, yeah, we'd love to do this. What do you need? But if it got complicated, like, hey, can you call, or is there a time I can call you, right? Let's make it easy for the consumer. So it has not been seamless. It's hard. It wears on me. Like anytime I can open up our Facebook inbox anytime, and there's just a pile of messages. And so it is hard, but it's also like, it's been great for us because, when we stand there and talk and somebody's got a picture of what they want, the gals are just trained, like, hey, flip that over to our Facebook page. And so a lot of what we do is just go in and grab the photo, print it out, put it to the order number. So it's while it is daunting at times, I look at how much it has ultimately not only grown my business, but alleviated the business. We don't have to guess when they say they want a Sophia the First cake. What does that look like? If they send us something that they have in their head, or a lot of times I'll tell them, send me something you don't like. It's just as helpful. If I can learn from a customer what you absolutely don't want, there's a better chance I can deliver you what you do. And so all of those conversations we just started embracing on email, social media, whatever it was, wherever the customer wanted to be, we committed that we were going to meet them there.
Yeah. So can you talk a little bit more about why it's important to meet the customer where they're at, as opposed to making them do what you want them to do?
Yeah. I've tried. It doesn't work. That's why I've often said, like, if I didn't have to do another Paw Patrol cake, my life would be easier, right? But if I could just have them walk in and the cake that I happen to have is what they wanted, but that's not the way it works, right? Like, that's not. And I put myself as a consumer, if I get on a website and I tell you that I want the blue t-shirt in a size large and I need that for a function tomorrow, if I click through the process, then I assume I'm going to get a large t-shirt in this color blue and I'm going to have it for tomorrow. And so I think just interacting online has changed the expectations of consumers. They used to be more willing to just kind of get what was available because that's what they could get. But now they have alternatives. And even in something as weird as baked goods, they can go online and they can purchase those. And so I think for me, it was just about, finding that balance. Now, we definitely have learned, and this is more about just business, not necessarily social media, but we've also learned that there comes a point. I always say, I want just enough. Like, I don't want one more cake. But every week, that one more of something is at a different point. It depends on my workload throughout the week. So as a team, we're constantly talking about what more can we take on. And I definitely coach people, right? So like if you come to me in week and you tell me like, hey, I'm totally behind the 8 ball. I forgot my kid's birthday party, or I got to have something for this soccer team. Can I have 40 cookies? Well, yeah, you can. But 30 of those are probably going to just be decorated in team colors. They're going to be super simple. We'll put sprinkles. They'll be cute. And, 10 of them might look like a soccer ball, but I can't do 40. And so that's the other thing I've learned too, is that social media is awesome for that. Just be able to fire back. Here's what we can do. And make sure that I'm setting their expectations. Nothing is worse than me being like, yeah, we'd love to. And then when they get here, we haven't been able to deliver it because I just open-armed embraced everything. So we have learned that kind of yin and yang with customers, whether that's face-to-face at the counter or online. But I would say either place, it works.
Yeah, and you touched on this a little bit too, but I was also wondering if you could talk a little bit about what is different about customer service today versus 20 years ago.
Yeah, I think it's the expectation of speed, right? It just is. We've grown very used to being able to get what we want very quickly, and recognition of access everywhere else. And so I think consumer demands have grown harder. I mean, my offering of, cake sizes, I have to offer every size because every party is different. And if I don't, they'll go somewhere that does. And then I just think then it's also this phenomenon that, it's the Amazon phenomenon, right? Like I can go and I have access to anything and everything, and I can get that delivered to my door in 2 days. Now, I do think that the pandemic will have changed that a little bit. Why would Amazon ever go back to 2-day delivery? Because they also trained us that we go there because they have everything, but they don't have to deliver. I still go there. And so I think, I think we've all got to stay current with that. But I just think, for my business, I can't say no to orders in week. And that's just people's lives. And I can try to train them to plan ahead. I can try to do that, but the reality is they don't have to plan ahead for anything else. So why would they plan ahead for this? They probably just last Sunday sat on Amazon and ordered their tablecloth, and now they need the cake that matches it, and the party's on Thursday. And Amazon will have gotten them a tablecloth, so it's only fitting that I get them a cake. And so I think it's just changed that expectation of, and then we have in our business, this is unique to us, but there is a definite Pinterest effect. We sit there and like, there will be people who send me pictures and they're like, I want this cake. And okay, do you understand that cake was not delivered on a July day, and what it cost and all of that. So that's also changed too, is people have access. Instead of them just saying like, hey, I'll take whatever Paw Patrol cake you can give me, they type in Paw Patrol and they come with an expectation that is like, wow. Because they can go to Pinterest and they see it, and then they don't understand, well, why can't you do this for me this quickly, and why does it cost that? And so yeah, I think it's access to information everywhere and speed of information.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and with that speed too comes, you were talking a little bit about getting Facebook messages, all hours of the day, and being able to check it and seeing a whole bunch. So what are some of the struggles of running a business when social media and the internet, create that appearance of 24/7 availability?
Well, that's just it. Is it, and it's not even, I'm going to be honest, it's not even the appearance of 24/7 availability. It is the expectation. Like, and I have customers that truly, like, if I don't message them back same day, I'll get a snippy message back. Don't worry, I found somewhere else. and which is fine. Some days I can't. I also will have people that will message, like our week in our business builds. So celebrations are on the weekend. So Monday and Tuesday, I might be able to be in front of my computer and type you back same day. But by the time I get Thursday, Friday, I'm down on the floor and I'm helping with cakes. I can't. And so it's daunting. It's staying up on top of it. It's that memory. And I've even toyed with I think the tools are horrible. It's not as easy as an inbox where you can just shuffle or you can assign. I mean, some of it is, but then I lose them. Maybe I'm just bad at using them. But and so keeping track of messages, which ones have I responded to? I've tried some of the automatic replies where if they send it, I say, hey, if this is an immediate need, please call the bakery. But two things happen. Number one, they don't call the bakery. And then number two, this is super tactical and my pet peeve, but then every single message in my inbox looks the same because I see the reply. And then I can't find. So then somebody's like, where is that Jessica who had those cookies? I'm like, I don't know. I can't find her message. And so it is just, it's not easy. And then I think it's that decision of, do you want to be available all that time? Like I had to grow okay there for a while. I loved the usually responds within 2 hours. Well, now I don't really care if that thing says I respond within 8, right? Because it sets the expectation that you're going to be there, and sometimes you just can't. And so then how do you, I think every business owner has to decide what are they okay with. I'm fortunate that I still have a lot of walk-in and a lot of phone call orders. So if I lose an online order, it's not the end of my business. But there are other businesses that online is their forum. And so then you've got to figure that out and what level are you okay with? What can you live with?
Yeah. So then, kind of along with that, you touched on how the pandemic kind of affected Amazon, but how do you think the 2020 pandemic changed customer service? What became more important, and did anything become less important?
Yeah. So it's so funny that we get asked that so much. I was asked this yesterday. How did it change? And I think so. The first thing I'll say is I still am just in awe. It gives me goosebumps to think about. I've never seen such an outpouring of people who wanted my business to survive, and they were direct about that. What can we do? What can I buy? What do you have that didn't sell that I can take? I mean, it was crazy. So I think there was just this rampant intention to support small business, to support local. They wanted my business to survive. But in order to do that, I had to shift. I had to, again, I keep using the words, I had to meet them where they were. So there were some people who weren't comfortable walking in my location. Okay, then I had to figure out, okay, how do I get this to you? Do I set it on a table outside and you come up? Are you comfortable with me coming to your car? I had people who were not comfortable handing me their credit card. Okay, then we've got to shift to touchless pay. So how are we going to do that? And then my fee structure goes up. So I've got to understand that as a business owner. Am I willing to take that cost? Am I not? A lot of my business, as you can imagine, is graduations, weddings. All of those things were clamped down. The ones that did happen, we then had to work with them. What are you comfortable with? We went to individual treats, literally having conversations with customers about what are you going to use to serve these? Are you going to use tongs? Do you want people to grab them? I mean, who would have thought we were going to have these conversations? But that's what we were up against is, just making sure, what are you comfortable with? What can we do? My business overnight had a completely different cost structure. Packaging was just skyrocketed. Everything had to be individually wrapped. Everything, we went from, big servings, big sheet cakes to small. So being ready to shuffle, but at the same time, that's what customers were interested in. That's what they needed. And so, I think some of that will go back. Weddings are very much returning to normal. Those things that are driven by economics, when they look at it and they can have a huge sheet cake or they have to do individual. But other things I think are going to stay the same. Graduations this year, we still did a lot of individual desserts and things like that. So yeah, I think the pandemic, I saw this outpouring of support, but at the same time, absolutely believe we would not have survived like we did had we not met them with very different service and and again intentional service where they knew we were shifting in order to accommodate their needs.
Yeah, so definitely, I feel like it seems like you saw all that relationship building that you had done with customers really ended up paying off during the pandemic, which is all the more reason to, have good customer service, have good customer relationships. So that's awesome. I'm super glad you guys are still around.
Thanks.
So now just for a few tidbits of tangible advice that other entrepreneurs and small business owners can take with them. What online customer service principles would you give other customer or other small business owners to follow?
That's a tough one to nail down. I think originally my immediate reaction to me, I want to say, do it. Just do it. Do it in some form or fashion. But I think that's wrong. I actually think every business owner needs to decide, do I want to do it? Do I want to take that on? Because if you do it, then you say, okay, so how do I operate consistently? What does it look like? Does every customer, do I at least interact, but they get an automated response that just states, I'm so sorry, like they used to do at my business. I'm so sorry, but can you please call this phone number? We need to take orders. A lot of people have coached me. I haven't gone there yet for some weird reasons, but a lot of people will coach me like, hey, couldn't you at least send them to a form? So maybe I don't have to interact with them, but they could start their order by at least putting in some information. So I think it is my biggest principle is you have to decide what's right for your business and then do that consistently. Because I think if you are a little bit of email, a little bit of Facebook, a little bit of Google Forms, a little bit of this, you run the risk of not having a consistent online and social presence. And so, I do think too, like we've talked a lot about just the messaging, but maybe for some people, it's that you're not available on the back end to actually communicate with customers, but you are posting. Because I will say that's the other thing. I mean, if I want something on my counter to sell, I just need to go post a picture of it. I need to sit there and say, apple hand pies are warm, and I will have a message and they'll be gone. And so, but I sell food. And so it's obviously fun pictures to look at. So I do think, you decide what is it that I'm trying to sell. If I'm having to sell a service and it's me, you probably like my picture wouldn't sell much. Right. So maybe it's not a bunch of just photos, social media that actually sells my business. But so again, long-winded way of saying, I think I would just coach people, start with one or two, choose what's right. Do you want to be in a communication fashion or do you want to just be in a posting fashion? And then get good at that and then try to figure out growing. I'll be the first to admit, people are like, your website stinks. I know, but it has my phone number and they call or they go to Facebook. And so I want to get a better presence on my website, but I also said I had thousands of Facebook followers that I could go to immediately and not have to tell them to get to my website. So I chose that. And then I think you just bite it off as you can take it.
Yeah, no, that's really good advice. I feel like I hear from so many people like, oh, I'm a small business owner. Like either I'm doing tons and tons of different things with my business and I don't have time, or this is just something that I do on the side. And so, you have a limited amount of time and you just really have to pick and choose those things that you want to invest in. And it's great to hear somebody successful to say that's okay to do. You don't have to do everything.
No.
Yeah. So thank you so much for answering all those questions.
Yeah.
I did. So if anyone else has a question right now, I want to open that up. If you have a question related to the topic of customer service, online customer service that you'd like us to answer, we'd love to answer that question for you. I did see Kelly had a question in the chat that was about marketing services, her services bookkeeping. And we actually had a really great webinar last month that was just an overview of a bunch of different digital marketing strategies that you can use and have in your tool belt. So I dropped that link in the chat there. So if that was a similar question anyone else had, I would encourage you to follow that link, watch that webinar there. It's on demand, just like this one will be too. Once we pick it up, it will process, and all of you who tuned in will get a link to the recording, as well as those of you who signed up and had to leave early or couldn't make it on time. So I will be sending that out afterward here. Just wanted to fill a little bit of time to make sure that nobody had a question that they wanted to throw at us here at the end. But I am still not seeing anything there, which is totally fine. Maybe we did a great job answering any question you could possibly have. Unless there was
I had one thought on Kelly's thing. So while what they get is a product, what we do is a service, right? Like decorating a cake. And I definitely learned early on that I had others I had to compete against, right? It was the level of service and what kind of a cake you got. And then especially to be able to request a higher price than my competitors. And that was going to be through the skills that I had. And so I would just say to Kelly, one of the things that I did that probably helped the most in dealing with my online presence is that was the one place I became worried about my ratings, because I said, hey, people will look and compare locations. And so even if to the extent, and I just did a simple, like there was one time I just did a post and was like, hey, could you go help me out? And every now and then small town businesses in downtown Kearney do that. Like they'll just send a note to like a reminder on our downtown forum, like, hey, could you go do a Google review of 3 businesses this week? And just bump them, right? So post those. And I always do those intentional, like those places that I've been, I will go give that. But, Kelly, to your point, if you could get your customers or like go to your friends and ask them, say, hey, you know what really helps my business and I'm trying to grow it? And that is when I have 5-star ratings or personal testimonials. I do that all the time. I look at testimonials. If I'm trying to buy something or I'm looking for a service, I ask my friends first, and then I'll go online and just read reviews. And so that may be something I have only invested in it a couple different times, and all I had to do was invest time. I just had to send a note out to just say, hey, could you guys give me, tell us what you think. And I welcomed them all. I said, hey, I want all feedback. But I do think in services is a place where there are a lot of people when they're trying to find somebody new or they're new in town, do look at those, Google reviews and your ratings on Google, or if there's a professional organization that you might be a part of. So just a thought.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, reviews on Google reviews and reviews on Facebook and everything like that, that's sort of the new age word of mouth. So great idea. Kathy here is also wondering, do you use Instagram and email blasts, Carrie?
Yes and no. So I do use Instagram, and I love Instagram. I like Instagram more than anything. I post when I post, I have 2 different accounts. So I have the bakery, and then we just added a retail store. And I like that when I post on Instagram, I can automatically upload to Facebook. If I load on Facebook, I can't automatically go to Instagram. So for me, it's efficiency on Instagram is why I use it. And then I kind of found that in my industry, foodies were on Instagram because that's where they were floating through for pictures. People are looking more for pictures on Instagram. I don't do email blasts. I probably need to get over this, but it's because of my years in corporate America. I can't keep ahead of my emails. I know that I go probably once every 60 days and I unsubscribe and I delete from emails. So I haven't gone there because I don't feel like my customers have been there, but I probably need to rethink that with the retail store. Like, do I, but I'd probably do it as a group. Like it would definitely be an opt-in to a VIP group that you maybe get some special pricing or something. I don't know. I just haven't, I don't enjoy them. And so I won't do to my customers what I don't want them to do to me. And so I haven't gone there, but I do think they're very effective. I have a couple friends who own businesses in town who've done those and done them well. And I do, I'm not gonna lie, I don't open them every week, but sometimes I'll scroll through and just see what they have going on. But I don't use email blasts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm really glad that you're on Instagram when you said that, I mean, cakes and food and all that is just Instagram gold. So for anybody else out there, if that is your product, you should be on Instagram because that is there. I mean, again, those are people that won't necessarily be maybe calling in to order a cake to get delivered if they live halfway across the country, but they'll still enjoy your content. That's still good interaction.
That's exactly right. Yep.
Kelly is wondering if you have any website advice on
Kelly, you need to give me
what you did to create a website.
No. So my website advice, I need to get over that I have really high expectations. And so I have never been able to build a website that meets my own expectations. And then because it's a small business and frankly, I just financially couldn't pay what some people were wanting. I have a horrible website. But I think it's important, I look at the number of just click-throughs or the number of people who went and then click through, because I can look at the, just even the single page, how many people have gotten it to find my address or phone number. So it's somewhere that I need to spend time. I need to figure out. Yes, Kelly, it is so expensive. And so what I have done is the fundamental shift I'm doing, you guys hold me accountable. So in 3 months, see whether I have websites. I have said, so what I have done is I've hired my businesses differently. Like I staffed a really good gal over on the retail side that is going to be able to run the business with a little bit of oversight from me, but not a ton of my time. And part of why I've done that is to say, so we just bought a building. We're growing the bakery. We added retail. Like I looked at my husband and said, I have to treat this investment differently. This is no longer just a hobby. And so what I'm doing with my time is transitioning to promotion. And I've got to figure out website. I don't know. Now I'm going to totally draw a blank on the website I've been using to build it. But anyway, just one of the available website builders. So. But I'd say the same thing, Wix. I'm using Wix. Thank you. I'm using Wix, again, personal testimony. So I talked to friends of mine who recently did websites. Sorry, that's the oven timer. But anyway, so friends of mine who just recently did a website and they spent time on GoDaddy and Wix. And I keep hearing that Wix is easier. The other tool I am going to get better at is Canva. I've used Adobe Spark in the past to just do professional looking posts. But I want to have more professional posts, more professional interaction with customers. So I want to get better at Canva. So Canva. So yeah, I agree. I've said that, like I see the high school graduate post. I've asked around a handful of times. We have UNK in our backyard. I should be able to find a graphic design student at UNK who could help me with my website. But I just I haven't had luck in finding anyone who wants to do it. And when I want it to look good, then I need somebody who wants to do it as badly as I want it done. And I haven't found that marriage.
Yeah. So yeah, really great advice on a variety of topics. Thanks so much for being willing to, answer lots of questions for us, Carrie. I'm going to shoot my contact info back up on the screen here real quick. That way, if you have any follow-up questions or something, or you can definitely reach out to me and I can connect you with Carrie if you need, or if you have more questions about Grow Nebraska or any of the services that we offer, I'd love to share that with you as well. So that's my contact info. Thank you so much, Carrie, for sharing your wisdom, for using your time to invest in other entrepreneurs. Just really appreciate that. So thank you so much for sharing what you know. We really appreciate that.
It was fun. Thank you.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and tune off then. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in today. We love that you are a part of our Grow Nebraska network and that you are using this free resource. Next week, we actually are going to do a session on selling products on Amazon, so you can sign up for that at grownebraska.org as well, just like how you signed up for this one. So we'd love to see you on that one as well. Thank you so much. Hope you guys have a great Thursday. Hopefully I will see you again